Love. I want to tell you a story about patriotism, bravery. I want to tell you a story about girlfriends. I want to tell you a story about strength. In 2011, I was deployed to Kandahar, Afghanistan, with the 2nd Brigade Combat Team of the 4th Infantry Division. My role there was to serve as a plans officer, and essentially we were the group of officers that planned and authored the operations for the brigade in that sector. We were a small team and we were very undermanned, and so we were in desperate need of a captain or 2 or 3 would be great to come and help us. It was a big workload. And I remember getting the word that indeed we would receive a new captain, and I was to be his sponsor. I was a senior captain on the staff, and so I'll never forget the day that I met Captain Joshua Lawrence. He was an odd fellow, a little goofy in my initial impression, but he had a big smile and a very, he was a happy guy. I just remember Josh being so happy and Josh being so eager to be a part of the team. We were delighted to have him. Now, the full comical story of how we became roommates, it's all in the article in the magazine, and I won't bore you with it. But Josh and I, we became fast friends. We were so different, but I've never had such a closer friend in a short amount of time. Josh had this insatiable appetite to learn. In fact, when we were going through his personal effects after Josh was killed in action, there was a deck of 3x5 cards that had the country and capital of every nation in the world. Josh was memorizing them just for fun. Can you imagine that? Josh and I were working together on a plan it was an operation that was going to be a peace jirga, a peace conference that was to take place in downtown Kandahar City a few weeks' time. And Josh and I were the lead planners, and we set to work synchronizing the resources needed, schedules for all the key leaders coming in for this large operation for the brigade. Josh and I mentioned we were roommates, and we would go home, go back to our room after 18, 20 hours some nights of working for a few hours of shut-eye, only to open our eyes in a few hours and start it all over again. It was hard work, and when we did get a few hours of shut-eye, our wives would later kid that we'd lay in our room, a very small room, that we stumbled across. It's a big deal to have a room over there. There's no personal space when you're deployed, so it was a big deal to have a room. But I was stuck with this knucklehead, so I thought, well, if it's anybody, it's okay if it's Josh. And we would lay on our beds on either side of the room. It was separated probably from plant to plant here. It's separated by some poor excuse for a wardrobe, that sort of separated his space from my space. And we would have what our wives would call pillow talk. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Josh and I would solve most of the world's problems on a nightly basis, and then the next day we'd just create a few more to solve for some later time as well. And I remember one night, out of the blue, but not uncommon for those who were deployed, Josh said, "Hey, Matt, if anything ever happens to me, man, I want you to take care of my wife, Brittany." They were newlyweds. In fact, Josh and Brittany had foregone their honeymoon because they got married, and Josh deployed, and he said, "We'll take the honeymoon when I get home." I told Josh, I said, "Sure, man, like any good battle buddy would do." I promised him, I gave him my word. I asked the same of him. I said, "If anything ever happens to me, would you take care of Lisa?" He promised. Nothing more was said on the matter. We woke up the next day and many more days after it and never spoke about it again. Now, imagine that was the story of developing a fast friendship with Josh. We were becoming close friends. We worked together so closely, so many hours of the day. Back home on the home front here in the States, I told Lisa, I said, "Babe, Josh he's my best friend over here. And we've become close friends. He's got a brand new bride. She's new not only as a wife, but a brand new Army spouse, and that's a whole different problem set. And sweetheart, would you reach out to Brittany? Would you guys meet up and at least ask if there's anything that you can do for her, questions you can answer, because I'm sure it's all very confusing." And so Lisa said, "Absolutely, I'll do it." And so Lisa and Brittany met up on one night in Dallas, Texas, had a great night, dinner together, spent the rest of the evening talking to getting to know each other, and they too became fast friends. And Josh and I later joked, we said, hey, we hope you girls really like each other's company because we love being roommates so much that when we get home, we'll just stay roommates and you girls can join, right? And we just enjoyed each other's company that much. Thank goodness. One, they knew that we were joking, but two, that they too became fast friends and enjoyed each other. And it was the start of a very long friendship. Well, a few months into the deployment, I was scheduled to go take command of an organization that was geographically separated from where I currently was. It was out on the west side of Kandahar City. And I knew the timeline for when I was going out there. I told you Josh and I were planning this big operation to which we were also selected to then plan it, but not only that, but also go out on a mission to execute it when it was going to happen. And we were going to be part of the command and control cell that was going to synchronize and make sure that the operation went according to plan. Well, for reasons unbeknownst to me, even to this day, my commanding officers had decided to accelerate my timeline by 2 weeks. And it was a decision that ultimately spared my life because on the very day that I was supposed to go out with Josh to that mission, was the day, instead of leaving for that, I left to go take command of my new troop. We woke up that morning, we kind of gave each other some parting shots. I said, hey man, good luck on the mission. We bumped fists, and that was it. I won't tell you the story about how I found out that night when I heard the radio come alive with the chaos that ensued downtown. And the moment that I realized that Josh was killed in action. Along with another fine captain, Captain Drew Russell was killed in action that night. Many more injured. My mind immediately went to Brittany back home, and I thought, I can't fathom what's about to happen, what reality she's about to come to terms with. I can't imagine. But I knew that Lisa would be there for her. And in fact, the first phone call that Brittany made was to Lisa, trying to make sense of what news would have just been delivered to her. When I told you this was a story about girlfriends and strength, Lisa, this happened in October. In July of that same year, just a couple months prior, Lisa had lost her brother to cancer. And Lisa, as you can imagine, was dealing with her own turmoil personally. But Lisa knew what had to be done, and so she flew with Brittany out to when they brought Josh home. And it was a welcome that looked very differently than we had imagined. And Lisa was with Brittany through the funeral and through all of the events to etch his name in stone on a monument at Fort Carson, Colorado. And every event that involved Brittany, Lisa was right there by her side. Sometimes not even saying a word, but just being there like a good girlfriend does, being that strong girlfriend that you've all heard about and that you all know and have yourselves. So as that reality unfolded, but that friendship, we never knew what it would mean to Brittany and to Lisa for them to be there for each other. So such an incredibly dark time. Well, fast forward with me just a little bit of time, and I want to introduce you to an organization called the Center for American Military Music Opportunities, CAMMO for short. Now, CAMMO uses music. They do many things, but one of the things they do is they use music as therapy of sorts to help folks who have PTSD or even Gold Star family members work through some of the things that they're trying to navigate. And music is a powerful instrument. And CAMMO leverages the power of that to help people deal with some very hard things. Lisa had long been a part of CAMMO and interested in music, but also interested in what they do for our soldiers and their family members. And so Lisa had been involved with CAMMO for a number of years. CAMMO put on an event called Operation Song. And Operation Song was a day where Gold Star family members and soldiers suffering from PTSD could come and join and sit with, free of charge, professional songwriters who had volunteered their time, many who were in the Nashville area. And they would sit in a room and just as a therapy, they would pour their hearts out. And they would just in stream of consciousness and emotions, and they would just lay it out there. And these songwriters would take these words, these emotions, these stories, and they would put them to music. And then they would perform them for these family members. It's powerful, powerful therapy. Who stumbles into an Operation Song event but Brittany Lawrence? a new widow, looking for something. She sits with a songwriter. She pours her heart out, the love story of her and Josh. The songwriter helps her put it to music, and they write this beautiful song. It was really beneficial. If you read Brittany's story, it's one that she said, I was thinking that I can put my finger on that moment and say that was powerful for me. It was a turning point in how I was able to deal with what was going on in my life. Was being able to take my story and put it to music. Now, Brittany had no idea. She was friends with Lisa, had no idea about this involvement with CAMMO. The two were none the wiser. Just happenstance. CAMMO says, hey, we would really like to have this song performed. And so at an event, they said, we're going to bring one of the artists in to sing this really special song and sort of use it as a highlight to encourage other family members of the power of music and what it could do for them. And so they invited Brittany. She was a guest of honor to this event. Brittany came, sat down, and they asked, unbeknownst to Brittany, CAMMO had no idea the connection between these two women. CAMMO said, Lisa, we'd love for you to sing this song. That's what a strong girlfriend does, right? So they introduce, they do the big setup, and they say, I'm out here to sing this love story. Please welcome Lisa Pratt. I would have loved to capture Brittany's face. It's priceless. It was emotional to see everything, all these memories of what Lisa had been there for Brittany through, even despite her own turmoil. And just this incredible, strong girlfriend relationship built throughout years. And Lisa came out and sang this song, Flowers on a Stone. She's going to sing it for you here tonight. And it's a love story of Brittany and Josh. But it really transcends husband and wife. I want you to listen to the lyrics. They're Brittany's words. They're someone else's musical genius. And it's Lisa's strength to be there for somebody in a time of need. Josh is my best friend. Smartest guy I ever knew. I made a promise to him one night that I would look after his wife. Whatever that meant, take care of her. It's not me that took care of Brittany, though. By extension, Lisa was able to be there in her darkest time. And the promise that I made to Josh, full well carried out, even to this day. Our B, we call her B. Lisa was there for Brittany. And the promise that I made to Josh that night wasn't mine to give. It was really Lisa who has lived this out. And so I'm going to ask Lisa to go ahead and come on out here. I'm going to grab this mic stand, though, because you guys know what happened a few weeks ago, so she shouldn't be carrying things. So. Friends, the name of the song is Flowers on a Stone. I want to thank you for letting me share the story of Brittany and Josh. I want to thank you each for the incredible outpouring of gratitude that you've shown tonight for our service members. There are more service members deployed worldwide today than there were when we were fighting 2 wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. More soldiers are overseas today than there have been in the last decade. And they're standing guard, and they're committed to a mission. But they couldn't do it without the strength of some people back home who love and support them and appreciate what they do. Sweetheart, Flowers on a Stone.
Little nervous, a little shy. wanted to dedicate that to Brittany because it is so far a song that's getting any easier to sing ever.